Hey, what's going on, grinders? Hey, it's Josh. So we got football this week, and as most of you people probably know, that's kind of my want to call it hobby slash second job, if you will. Um, I play Draftkings, and I play Draftkings at a higher volume this year. I've been doing the math on a couple things, and I think we're going to actually increase that volume. I think I got to get a little bit more money into play to make a little bit better profit. With that comes a little bit more risk. So this season, I have taken the metrics that worked for me last year and moved them, kind of back into a spreadsheet. And then I added just a ton of new metrics this season. And I'm going through that. I'm not completely done. My goal is to be done today. And unfortunately, with Labor Day being here and having kid and dad responsibilities, I didn't quite get all the way through that. I've got about 32 pages in on my spreadsheet. There's about 7 more that I want to add. And from there, I'm going to narrow down the plays for the week. I plan to have those out on Thursdays. It might switch to Fridays, not 100% for sure. So if you want to get those plays from me, by all means, send me your email. My email, joshuadbroadwater@gmail.com. And don't forget the D in there, or else you're going to send it to a guy in Maryland, and I'm sure he's probably not going to send you back the plays. But if you want to get some of my top plays, it's free, completely free. You just need to send me your email and confirm that it's okay that I start sending you email, and I will get those out to you. But today, I kind of want to just run through a little bit of how Draftkings works, and exactly how you go about getting a couple things set up and possibly creating a lineup. I'm not going to do any lineup creation today. Show you the different types of games, and hopefully, time permitting, tomorrow I'm going to run through just a little bit of the terminology to get you set up for week 1. So right here we have the DraftKings site. You're going to have to set up an account, and once you get that set up, you're going to have these different options here, and it's going to go through rules and scoring. And I think that's kind of one of the biggest things you're going to want to look for right away is you need to know we're going to play NFL and you're going to play Classic. Now, you can play NFL Pick'em, which is just a tiered group. So they give you the players. You just have to select the best player out of each tier to win money. I'm not as excited for that. I know a lot of people are. I kind of like the draft, and that's the NFL Classic when you have a salary cap. So on the draft styles here, we got draft, salary cap, Pick'em, read through that. It gives us, kind of our options. Most contests right here are going to be late swap, which meaning that we can, up until the kickoff, we can switch a player for another player. So I will go over some of that in strategy format. However, that's not going to be today. That really comes in handy, especially in a tournament situation where you're trying to not only have the best players, but it boils down to how many players have that player. So how many percentage points does each one have? So I'm going to use an example. Let's say David Johnson, 20% of the field has him, and you're tied, and you're 10 points behind, and you have a chance to win, and without looking that most likely the guy in first place has David Johnson. So you can't overtake him if you both have David Johnson. What late swap allows you to do is, let's say there's a comparable player, Melvin Gordon, for example. He always plays most of the late slate games. And you're thinking, okay, this guy's 5% owned. Chances of him having him are going to be low. If David Johnson whiffs and Melvin Gordon has a good game, no, that's most likely not going to happen, but that's just kind of how we have to approach it from a strategy standpoint. Then you need to look at it as maybe considering switching Melvin Gordon in there, because winning a tournament could be $5,000 and second place might only be $1,500 and then drop down to $500. So it all depends on what you feel comfortable with and strategy, but we'll get to that some other time. Keep looking through this here. The big thing is you're going to want to look at scoring, and DraftKings is a PPR site. So that means that every reception that a player gets, they accrue 1 point. And in DraftKings, that's more relevant than it is in FanDuel. FanDuel is PPR, but it's only half point. And on a half a point, it still goes, there's still more of a weighted, it's still more weighted, towards yards and touchdowns. But once you get your account set up, you're going to want to add some money to your account. Now, don't add any more than you feel comfortable losing. Don't get crazy. Don't feel like you have to put thousands of dollars in here. I have quite a few friends that like to roll with $20, $30, $40, and I'll show you why. So we can get to the lobby here, and you've got your money in there. Be sure when they ask you who referred you, be sure to put my name and my email address in there. We both will get free credits for that. But here we go. You'll look, and so we've got the style of classic and pick'em. Okay, it'll tell you right there on the screen. But the reason why I say it doesn't matter is, let me get to the NFL. We'll get to the NFL lobby. And now there's no total prizes here, and some of these you can just play. However, we'll get to tournaments, and we can go to 25 cent. There we go. 25 cent games. Total prizes, $75,000. Here we go. We'll click this. Look at this. First place on a 25 cent game is $4,000. It really depends on how much you want to spend. There's no right and or wrong answer. If you just want to come here on a Sunday and have fun, there are games for everybody. And with being a new player to DraftKings, you guys are all eligible to play in the beginner player entries. And last year I signed up a guy, and he played in there, and he won like $125 right off the bat. It's a good way of getting your feet wet. But yeah, what you're going to want to do is, we got your money. We've referred me, of course. Again, that's Joshua D. Broadwater at gmail.com. And now you want to start searching for your games. So we'll go to NFL, because that's the only thing I'll play. And for some reason here, I want to go to, there we go. All right. So now we're going to get into this, and I'm going to kind of explain these tournament breakdowns a little bit. So you're going to have your fantasy football millionaire. It's $20 fee per one entry. You're going to say there's a total guaranteed prize of $5,555,555. Now, you got to look over here, and you're going to say there's 321,000 players. So roughly about 40% of those are going to be in the winning money. The rest of it's going to go to DraftKings. However, it is a guaranteed prize, meaning if this does not fill, if all 300,000 players do not enter, they're still going to guarantee this amount of money. Now, this is for Sunday only, which is really nice. So you know at the end of the night where you're at. And you say, okay, I want to learn a little bit more. Go over here, click on it, and it's going to tell you first is 1 million. Now you can see, look how much that drops off. That goes down to 200,000 right away for second, 100,000 for third, and now we get into our normal payouts. And yeah, they're on the top 79,000 people on this. And that is, so basically, you're getting 50% return on your money. It's not a great tournament. They lure you in with this. Do I play it? Yes. But I might only put 10 teams in a week. I'm more focused towards flatter contests, meaning these numbers are closer together. And although the first place prize isn't as big a payout, it's flatter all the way down. However, you want to look at this, you say, oh, okay, I might want to do that. Well, now this shows you who's in there. You're going to have the big names. They're always going to be in there, but they do have experience badges next to them, knowing, oh, is this a good player? Well, this means right here that he plays a lot of contests. He's had a big win. And there we go. That's exactly what this means. And that way you know who you're playing against and if they're relatively a good player, a professional, something along those lines. All right. Going down here, they have a $3 game. $200,000 to first, $784,000. I will be maxing out the entries in this one. For me, it's just more of an odds thing. But you have any which way you want to pick in a tournament style. Again, you see the drop-offs, and for $3, $5 your return. So not great returns, but also not a huge way to lose a ton of money. I will tell you that in a tournament, you are going to have a bigger prize pool. You are not going to be able to get 50% or 100% back your money on that. So what you can be is also a cash game player. And I like to mix it up. Depending on the week, I will play a lot of 50-50s and double ups. And on a 50-50 and double up is what we call a cash game. And in cash games, I'll use this. So there's a 5% double up. Okay? There are 57,000 people. This used to be the top 50%. Now it's like the top 45% if I do my math correctly. However, $5 turns into $10. So you just have to beat a little over half of the field. That is, for new players, I suggest the way they go. We don't have to take in a ton of strategy. We just want to make the best plays and hope that the other 50% is just randomly lineups out there. And believe me, you're going to want to throw out a couple random lineups, and I am going to teach you to stop doing that. Okay? There's just too many times I see people throw out, what if, maybe if I can possibly see, and I look over there, I'm not going to correct them. It's their team, but I'm looking at it, and they are legitimately making some plays that I just definitely don't agree with. Playing running backs against, a top 5 defense. So this is what we have here. A 50-50 is exactly 50%. However, their pools are going to be smaller, so we can get into, we aren't going to play that. Whatever. It doesn't really matter. It'll just show you. See, there's only four people here. So the top 2 win $4,000, and the other 2 lose their money. But still a great way. I highly suggest, if you're going to look into this 50-50, that when you do, you make sure that you're not playing against a bunch of experienced players. Get out of there if you possibly can. The other game that you can play is head-to-heads. You want to play one person. They take a small rake, and a rake is the money that the site takes for hosting, and you play a person heads up. I will tell you, it is better for you to join a heads up and enter than it is for you to post them. Now, like, I will go out and post head-to-heads because I do not care if I play a guy with an experience badge or a new player. I mean, the hope for me is obviously to get a new player, somebody who doesn't know exactly what they're doing and is making a whole bunch of plays that you really want to question. You have a better chance of beating them. However, if somebody else scoops me and they have an experience badge, well, so be it. I will play them. I have no problems going up against them. Last year, I think I was just a tad under 60% on head-to-heads, which may sound low, but that's actually a very, very good number. That means that 60% of the time, I was getting the victory, and you're going to face a whole bunch of different lineups. We might put in 100 head-to-heads, and, if I can come out with 60 victories there, I'm totally happy with that for a week. That's a good return for me. But I would look at making sure that you pick up some of these. But again, if you post a head-to-head, you're probably going to be filled within, I would say a couple minutes. They're going to look and see you don't have an experience badge, and they're going to scoop you. I don't scoop head-to-heads. I just post them. Now, we go into a couple other things. You can play multipliers. I don't know. I have mixed reactions on this. I've turned a lot of $100 ones into $1,000. It's not easy to do. You really have to be, you got to be up around that 180 score. I found to really guarantee that you're gonna hit that multiplier. So sometimes the payoff will look good, but the actual amount of people that you have to beat is small. And then you have satellites and qualifiers, and I highly recommend that you stay out of those. Those are just basically buying you tickets, which will buy you another, like one time I won a $2 satellite, which gave me a $20 ticket into the Millionaire, which is great, except for the fact that your hit percentage is low. You have to win it to get the ticket. And what are you really gaining? If you're looking to actually play and win some money, I think your best bet is to stay into tournaments and head-to-heads. And you want to look for anything that has this tag on it, which means it's guaranteed. And being new, we'll get to this. This keeps... Yeah. Being new, I would really limit how much you're going to want to put into the fantasy football millionaire. I would start looking at things along the lines of, this isn't bad, this $8 post pattern, some double up, some cash games. The play action's always nice. That'll go up to, usually it'll go up to $4 next week. Searching through and finding some of these small dollar, they got good payouts on them. This is it right here. This big booster. That's what I was talking about last year. Mine wasn't. Mine was $1,000, but yeah, mine was a top 100 win. Well, so top 1,000, you got to finish, there's almost 24,000 people in it. But yeah, we can look through this. You got any questions? Again, email them to me. But keep in mind, most of your games are going to be here on the Sunday slate. There is a Thursday slate, which ends on Monday. I would really limit how much you play in this. Thursday through Monday slates are a lot more difficult. You find yourself getting a lot more action on Thursdays. And if you actually go back and look at the statistics on it, Thursday games do not produce very many fantasy points. And you find yourself wanting to play, and I'm guilty of it too, and you're chasing those points. And where I became successful at these is I just, no matter what the situation was, I faded them completely. And fading just means that I'm not playing them. And I would continue to play a regular Sunday slate with maybe possibly throwing in a Monday game around there. The Sunday can get a little crazy if you want. It narrows down your pools. You got your early only. You have your Sunday, Monday, and you should have an afternoon. Yeah, an afternoon only. And I would just and you have your primetime game, which is your Monday and your Sunday game. Now, also, I'm going to tell you one thing about this, is if you had a bad day, let's just say you bet $20 out there and you lost all $20. And you're like, I gotta have some money. I'm gonna win it back. I'm gonna get my money back. Don't play it. It's better bankroll management not to play it. Now, I'm guilty. I do that. But what you do is you're really tilting hard, and that means you're chasing money and you're not thinking clearly, and now you're making even more plays that most normal people wouldn't do. You're chasing in the hopes of somebody hitting, and I bet you 95% of the time you don't hit. It's just the way it is. So that's your site. You'll have all your lobbies sitting here. So let's just say here's a Millie Maker, right? We're going to enter, ignore this, block these out. Hopefully I'll do that on there. But you can hit create new lineup. Okay. Here's your site. You got your quarterback. It'll tell you the player. The team that you're on is highlighted, where they're playing. This is how many fantasy points per game they averaged. Now, this is last season. However, they will change this up to just seasonal, and this will say how good your opponent did positionally against each other. So this says that they're 22nd ranked against Pittsburgh. Now, there's a lot of metrics. We're going to cover some of these later, but these aren't always accurate. These don't always depict exactly how good the matchup is. And then this is how much this player costs: $50,000 to make your team. So I cannot go, I'm going to go Ben Roethlisberger, Antonio, Julio, Odell, Greg Olsen, Levy. See, you can't make your team. You're $20,000 over budget. So, get these out of here. Thought there was a clear button. So what this does is you're going to have to start looking at the players and build a roster. And your roster, quarterback, 2 running backs, 3 wide receivers, a tight end. And then in this flex spot, you can use a tight end, a wide receiver, or a running back, and then a defensive special teams. They do not have, here's a clear button. They do not have kickers. FanDuel does have kickers. Their defense and special teams is all broken to 1. You do not get any points for your kicker kicking a field goal, which is nice. I like that. However, on a big tournament play, a lot of times a defense can make or break you. It sounds weird, but you're getting some of these defense roll out a 20, 22 point spot, and I would say the average is going to be right around that 10 points. You're in a 12 12-point hole there. So you can click on these. They'll give you some stats. So in case you don't have time to look up some of the stats and you decide that you do not want to email me and get some of the plays, they'll tell you exactly where they're at. This is points allowed per game, pass yards a game, rush yards a game, and so on and so forth. You can look at the game logs. This goes back to last year, what they did, how much they were at that time, and they'll give you a little matchup. Now, they will give you the Draftkings is very good about giving you the latest players and news. Okay, we'll click off there. And once you're filled out, you hit enter. Heck, I'll just reserve an entry. That way I'm already guaranteed Millionaire, right? So when I win $1 million, I will give you guys, well, nothing, because I'm going to keep all $1 million. Sorry, I'm just greedy like that. Here we go. You can go to the promos tab right up here. This will show you what we have going on. A lot of these aren't going to apply to you, but there are some that you may want to get into. This will tell you if you have notifications, if you win any tickets, how much money you won. That will be up here. And then once you get going, see possible winnings right here. But this is where you can go to your contest page. And on the contest page, it will, when it goes live, it will tell you everything that you have here, and it will update you as you go. You'll be able to open this tab to see your standings. You'll open this tab to see if you created multiple lineups. It'll tell you who's in that lineup. So right here, there's entrance. And you can scroll through and you can search when you get live to see if you're playing against any friends. You can see how they're doing, and then you can open up your lineups tab. Before lineup lock, you will right here will say lineup, and you'll be able to edit your tab right here. So we'll say if one of your players is inactive for the day, go ahead, click this. You'll be able to exit out if you don't want to use the lineups tab here. You can do it in contest. This will tell you entry fee, sport, your lineup, and your contest that you're under. So like I will probably have, I would say 200 and some lineups this week. I'm going to be kind of reserved on that a little bit, just because it's the opener. But this will break it down to, I know that I'll have, probably 10 in the Millionaire, and I'll be able to edit, if say I just want to edit the Millionaire. In the lineups tab, you'll be able to mass swap players out. So we'll say Le'Veon Bell is inactive. You'll be able to change out all your Le'Veon Bells as long as they fit under the cap, which in his case, he's the most expensive running back, so it won't be a problem. But and it will go and change out everybody that it possibly can for your lineup for that day. As you can see, you have a deposit page. Here we go. You can deposit whatever amount of money you want. So this only allows me to, I must have set it at $2,000. So I have to request that I want to move that up. I'm pretty sure that's self-imposed. Possibly could have been my wife, because guess what? She gets a little owly about this sometimes. Just kidding, Cassandra. From here, you can check it out. So that's my balance of what I have in there right now. And when you win money and you want to take it out, you just have to withdraw here. And when you withdraw it, the first amount of money that you put on a card is going to directly get credited back to you onto that card, so you won't actually get cash. And after that, so like me, I deposited $2,000 last year on a credit card. And when I took my money back out, they deposited the $2,000 back to my card, and then they sent me a check. And that's how it will work every single time. You will have to like upload some stuff for them to be able to send you off some tax information. I'm sorry, there's nothing you can do about that. This is where you can redeem your tickets. You can upload any of your information that you need, upload a photo. You cannot change your name. So when you're picking a name, be sure to pick what you want. And like right here, here's a nice thing. So you have frequent player points. I'll show you this. What do I got? I got 444,000. And so what we do is, so I got 44,000 heading into this year. Most of those are basketball points. I don't really play baseball. So I can go in and I probably buy 4 tickets right off the bat, just to get me into some contests they'll buy me 4 Millie Maker tickets. Don't see any reason why not. It's free money. And the more you play, the more they give you. So hopefully this is helpful. Again, it's Joshua D. Broadwater at gmail.com. And like I said, we're going to go through a lot of picks. I'm not going to give you lineups. I can't give you lineups, but I'm not going to give you lineups anyways because it's not my job to make your team. But I do want to see you be successful this year. And I went full-time last year, and there were a lot of things I wish people would have taught me. The information isn't out there. You really have to do a lot of learning. And I'm trying to take some of that learning curve off. So again, Joshua D. Broadwater. Be sure to get the email. I'm going to come back out. We're going to have a lineup show. I'm going to kind of go through some of my picks, my players, and some things to look for. By all means, this isn't guaranteed. And I'm just trying to help you not make the same mistakes that I did starting out. Look for us Thursday or Friday. Again, Josh Broadwater, Joshua D. Broadwater at gmail.com. And I hope we win, and I'll see you guys soon.